Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. 480, that's the new number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Kentucky. There are unfortunately also 2 new deaths. Today, the governor announced an executive order for restricting travel out of state. You should only leave Kentucky if it is absolutely necessary, like for work, to take care of a loved one, or for your health. We also learned a staff member and resident of a northern Kentucky nursing home tested positive for COVID-19. The governor did not announce any new cases in southeastern Kentucky today. So let's look at the latest map of Kentucky showing where those confirmed COVID-19 cases are. Those are, of course, the counties in red. There are now confirmed cases in more than half of Kentucky's 120 counties. Here in the WYMT coverage area, we have positive cases in Pulaski, Boyd, Breathitt, Martin, Laurel, Lawrence, McCreary, and Wayne counties. Very few in most of those counties, most just 1 or 2. Now, no new cases, again, were announced today across southeastern Kentucky. Pulaski County remains one of the areas in our viewing area where we are seeing the most cases of the novel coronavirus. 3 Sundays ago, a woman with the virus went to church. 40 people self-quarantined after that. Today, WYMT's Connor James talked to one man who thinks he got the virus at that church service. He joins us now live with more. Connor?
Good afternoon, Steve. Yeah, Stephen Dowell and I talked over Facebook's video messenger a little earlier today. He's been fighting COVID-19 symptoms since roughly around the time that church service happened. He attended that church service too. About 6 days after the service, he started showing symptoms. Last Monday was when he was tested. He was immediately diagnosed with pneumonia then. Then 2 days later, that Wednesday, the tests came back and he had the novel coronavirus. He's been at home through this. He's 47 years old and does have a couple underlying health problems such as high blood pressure and diabetes. He says the symptoms have been pretty rough on him.
The worst thing is not being able to breathe. By far, that's the worst, and that's the scariest, when you cannot catch your breath and there's no reason for that. They're not winded for some reason. A lot of coughing. At times, you can't even speak for the coughing. It's just continual, on and on. And then you'll have moments like this where, it's not really affecting you. So it's very much a roller coaster ride.
Now, thankfully, he says his fever is lowering and he thinks he is on the better end of the virus and will be getting over it soon. But now he does want to shift to give a message out for people to follow those social distancing guidelines and to take this very seriously. We'll have much more on his interview tonight at 11. Steve.
All right, Connor, thank you. People with the Southern Kentucky Emergency Medical Service are reminding people not to abuse emergency services, especially when they could be stretched thin. Medics in Somerset say people are calling for COVID-19 tests. They're reminding people that these tests are not readily available yet, and first responders do not have them on hand. Medical professionals at hospitals have them, but only give them to people who show symptoms. Officials say because of the influx in these types of calls, they cannot respond to other emergencies.
It has changed our method of treatment a little bit because, like a nebulizer for respiratory problems, it increases the risk of the providers being infected because of the aerosolizing producing in a small area like the back of an ambulance. So unless it's really needed, then they'll hold off on that until they get to the hospital.
The chief says if you think you have COVID-19, call your medical provider, not your EMS service. Long hours and stressful days seem to be the new reality for healthcare workers. So earlier this morning, the city of Hazard and Perry County officials gathered in front of Hazard ARH to show their appreciation. The governor actually mentioned this during his news conference a little earlier. WYMT's Will Puckett joins us now live with more. Will?
Steve, it was pretty cool to see the governor, like you say, that mention it in his news conference. It's a white banner with green letters. It's a small literal sign showing that officials appreciate healthcare workers' hard work and dedication and that it is not going unnoticed. With music blaring, and pictures being snapped. This banner hangs over Hazard ARH, showing appreciation for the men and women walking into work.
When you have acts like this, it means a lot, and I'm sure that these people that are coming off 12-hour shifts are coming on to 12-hour shifts with all these changes. Just appreciate knowing that people are thinking about them.
As the sun rises over the parking lot, those ending their shift or starting a new one stop to appreciate what this means.
It's just amazing. This is just amazing. It's so stressful, and it was just like, it was so enlightened when I come out this morning, and I said, don't make me cry, but I couldn't keep from crying.
A sign hanging from two outstretched ladder trucks shows appreciation for the men and women thrust into fighting on the front lines of the COVID-19 battlefront.
I don't think anybody just hardly understands until they're in it every day just how every little thing helps. Every little thank you, every little I appreciate you, every smile.
It's a simple reminder and show of appreciation for these workers.
We're just a strong nation, we're a strong community, we're mountain people, we're going to be okay.
As they navigate the unknown. Trying to find a dry eye there this morning was hard to find. It even brought tears to Mayor Mobilini's eyes, and watching just people so thankful for that small showing of support for some people who are working some very, very long hours. Steve, city and county officials are trying to think of other ideas as to how to continue to show their support for those healthcare workers.
Yeah, no, they had a prayer service there at Hazard ARH last night, too. Lots of support for those working so hard right now. Thank you very much, Will. Harlan County has not yet had one confirmed COVID-19 case, but that's not stopping county officials from enforcing restrictions and the governor's orders. The county is closing parks, dispatching road crews from their home, and is reducing services such as vehicle inspections that require additional contact. Harlan County Judge Executive Dan Mosley says people are finding things to do while following the rules.
I saw things this weekend that I haven't seen in a long time. I saw, parents out with their kids riding bicycles. I saw parents with their kids out on the walking trails. I saw, kids in their yard throwing football with their dad.
Mosley says this is all to protect the community and those who are most vulnerable. Harlan County officials are still allowing people to utilize the walking trails at parks that are not fenced in. In Whitley County, the Root Beer Stand, a popular place, is making some big changes in response to COVID-19 concerns. They are limiting their menu to only hamburgers, hot dogs, French fries, and onion rings. Sounds pretty good right now. There will be limited parking spots open, and they ask that you do not eat on site. Williamsburg restaurant owners were not able to open due to restaurant closings ordered by the governor. The Butcher's Pub was originally set to open March 17th, but that was put on hold. Since those employees were mostly students from out of state, the owner's focuses quickly turned to keeping the employees in Pineville working.
We're mostly just taking a break for the next 6 to 8 weeks or so, and then we'll be back. We'll be ready to go.
The Butcher's Pub in Pineville did stop carry-out services. However, the employees are still working inside the restaurant. As people are encouraged to stay home and not travel, this is taking a big hit, obviously, on hotels during a time that is typically one of their peak seasons. Some locally owned hotels in London are now finding new ways to bring in revenue as well as help others. WYMT's Emily Bennett tells us how.
During this time of year, this hotel is usually at about 75% occupancy. Right now, it's at just about 10%. So owner Randy Singh started to think of ways that he could use his business to help others. Since he now has many rooms open, he is offering day rates to people who need to work from home, but may not have a relaxing space to do it or may be in need of internet access. The rooms have plenty of space and a private bathroom. Singh is also giving healthcare employees special rates. He knows many may need to self-quarantine or distance themselves from their families to not expose them.
We're here to make sure that these workers, the people that are making us safe, taking care of people that are sick, that they have a place that they could afford as well. Because, there's no number onto it. Just let us know. We'd work something out for you for any kind of budget that you needed.
Singh says they are keeping everything as clean as possible and alternating rooms. So when someone checks out, that room is not used again for 3 days. In London, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
Authorities in Powell County are cracking down to make sure people are social distancing. The city of Stanton says people have been hanging out in parking lots. Because of that, the parking lot at Whitaker Bank is now closed. Police say the lots are not a hangout spot. The department is asking businesses to put similar measures in place.
It's not been a bad day here in the mountains. Has been a little bit on the windy side, which has triggered a red flag warning. Now this goes until 7, so still about an hour on this for a lot of those counties and a lot of counties in eastern Kentucky that are right now highlighted in pink. The reason this was issued is because of some stronger wind gusts. They're starting to die down a little bit now, but winds were gusting anywhere from about 20 to 30 miles per hour. And when you get that mixed with the dew points in about 20s to 30s, that's typically when you see a red flag warning issued for our area. So I know it's something we haven't seen in really, I know, a long time. I haven't seen it since I've been here in eastern Kentucky, but yeah, it happens sometimes. At least those temperatures have been pretty nice for today. You're seeing those lower 60s still for a lot of us. That wind, though, making it a little bit chilly, and we're going to see some cooler air move in as we head into tomorrow, along with a few rain chances. I'll have your forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, Paige, thank you.